Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
It took Maria 5 minutes. Here's 10 seconds. Democrats are the party of uncommon nonsense. Republicans are the party of common sense. It's why our tent right now is full of such a wide ideological spectrum. People are flocking to the Republicans because we stand for common sense.
Yeah.
And Democrats have taken on all this uncommon fringe nonsense. And if they are in the toilet, my advice, flush away the fringe and the people who have drug you down there, because this is why Republicans won the election.
If the president was having an off day, meetings would be scrapped all together. Scott Jennings, you were just talking about this, so I'll go to you first because I know you have a lot to say, but this piece does show Biden having all of these sort of walls up.
Yeah.
And the walls kept getting higher and higher as the years went on.
This is the biggest scandal in America, and the level and volume of people who dedicated themselves to lying to everyone at home about this man's condition for 4 straight years up through this summer is breathtaking. It's a scandal of epic proportions, and it's a fair question to ask. Who is running the country? Who has been running the country? And as I said earlier, if you're worried about Donald Trump's advisors having influence, for the last 4 years, apparently this president, duly elected, but this president was not capable of fulfilling the duties of the office. And his staff and the White House lied about it and kept it from the American people. It's an absolute scandal.
Oh my God, his head's going to explode from all the...
I'm surprised he's not just blood spatter at this point. But just yesterday, I mean, Jody said, like, we're not playing any of his sound anymore.
No.
And Daniel did. It's all lies, Donna. It was all lies during the election. It's all lies now. So, of course, CNN felt like they had to go through it one by one. It's just all completely egregious lies.
Well, what really irritated me was he gives this press conference yesterday, and he holds forth with he was playing his greatest hits, okay? It was the same thing you always heard. And how do people report about it? But at least he gave a press conference, which Biden never did.
Oh,
that's really the number one headline, that he gave a press conference, thank you, sir, for giving a press conference.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, this piece was so on point, Donna, and yet so depressing. You said what Joe Biden couldn't do and why it mattered. And you talked about being in your car listening to President Biden's speech about Syria and thought it was pretty good. Then you said, I saw it on TV, and you said whether I was supposed to or not, I felt bad for him. And you were talking about the famous Kennedy-Nixon debate, where people who saw the debate on TV said Kennedy clearly won. People who heard it on the radio said Nixon won. But we are just in this age now where, depressing as it is, as you said, apparently they want the Trump show. They want an entertainer.
They want professional wrestling. They want bread and circuses. And I really wonder if his followers, who think that he is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I wonder if they've thought about the implications of some of his policies, because it's going to come down on them. And here's the problem. They will then be told by the right-wing media, oh, this is all because of the liberals. And I'm sitting there going, no, it's kind of not all because of the liberals. But if you hear the same thing over and over and over, I mentioned when I was on with Bob, I have a friend who lives in Tennessee, God bless her, and I jokingly refer to her as my right-wing fact check because she is in that world where that's all she hears. Right. And she's quoting me back things that liberals believe, and I'm sitting there like, I don't know anyone who believes
You're
those
like, no, and no.
Did you hear Kamala run on any of this stuff?
No. That's what I mean. It's not about what actually is. It's what people perceived was, from this massive right-wing disinformation chamber that then, leads the regular media by the nose. And so they're reacting to right-wing talking points rather than,
Absolutely.
I just saw, what was it called? The red one with The Rock. It's the Santa movie.
It was good.
And after I read your piece, Donna, I'm like, well, The Rock's going to have to be our next president.
And there you are. There you are.
And
Have you
ironically,
thought about running for president? You're entertaining. I mean, you could do this.
sure. Oh yeah.
Don't look into her closets
Yeah,
or
fart
don't,
jokes.
no, yeah,
That's what
yeah.
we need. But you made the point down in your piece. Joe Biden's not a television president. He's always been an awkward speaker, prone to gaffes, has a tendency to say the wrong thing even when he knows the topic and knows what he's trying to say. You say Trump has a background in the entertainment industry, a larger-than-life persona he's utilized for years. Biden is neither an entertainer nor a performer. Silly me. That wasn't what I was ever looking for in a president. But right, you said he's an old school politician trying to fit into an era where policy positions don't seem to matter and constructing an exciting image is everything. Oh, this is so depressing and on point, Donna. You said that's why I was one of the folks who believed Biden should not have run for re-election. I know he had some very important accomplishments, and I know he wanted to run on them, which I can understand, right? And you said, fairly or not, in a visual media universe, he just looked old. It wasn't his chronological age. Since perception is reality, what people perceived was that he wasn't up to the task. And boy, the media was happy to help, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
could we have one more story about Biden's old, the economy's bad, Biden's old, the economy's bad?
Well, you know what else really just toasts me is the fact that Mitch McConnell has something wrong where he falls, his face freezes, all this other nothing. But Joe Biden made a gaffe. He's old.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, why are these two things different? Why is
Right.
McConnell, well, we're not going to talk about that. But Biden, oh my God, the guy's old.
And unfortunately, to mention debates, as you did in Kennedy-Nixon, that debate performance played right into the already, set in stone narrative that the media had written, right?
And you've had so many people on your show that have interacted with him, that have engaged with him. I know people that have worked with the man. I have a lot of journalist friends, just like you do. They all said the same thing. When you are in a room with him and you're talking policy, the guy is sharp as a tack. Oh, wait, he's not the greatest speaker, but he knows his stuff. Today, it doesn't matter if you know your stuff. As long as you can create an entertaining show, you can get people interested in your campaign. I found that profoundly disappointing.
Me
I mean,
too.
you and I-
Yeah. I mean, it's just sad. You said, I loved how you ended this, Donna. You said, I wish I had a time machine that could transport Joe Biden back to the 70s or 80s, back when policies and accomplishments were what voters cared about. You said, while I sincerely believe Joe Biden got a lot done, deserves our thanks, what we needed him to do was something that wasn't within his skill set. So here we are, awaiting the next episode of The Trump Show, not knowing what might come next, but his supporters aren't worried. They're sure whatever happens, it's guaranteed to be entertaining. I mean, man.
And look at this. You've been talking about all of the people. I made a list and checked it twice. All the people that have gone down to Mar-a-Lago to bend the knee. People you wouldn't even expect. But hey, they want to be part of it. They want to be like, he's on my side. I'm on his side. How is that good for democracy?
It's not, Donna. And it's like I said on Q yesterday with ABC being the latest to capitulate. Here he comes threatening CBS for editing the editing of the Kamala interview. Bob
and
Woodward
going after Ann Seltzer
for a poll.
A poll.
I mean, and the point is, we can legally go, that's nonsense, and he's not going to win any of those. That's not the point. It's to threaten people. It's to bully them. It's to preempt any bad coverage of him. It's to scare people financially.
And to create self-censorship, to create people thinking, oh, my God, if I say this, even if it's true, I'll get sued, and my corporate overlords don't want to invest money, so I better just...
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the latest out here, Ann, is the LA Times. LA Times owner and the newspapers, the tension is growing between him. Our resistance hero, Harry Litman, just resigned his column saying, I'm not going to, be a party to this. But the tension is apparently growing after demands that the editorial board, get this, Ann, quote, take a break from writing about Trump, an odd request about an incoming president. His meddling has become more pervasive than previously realized, including taking a more active role in dictating the paper's editorial columns and actively thwarting the publication of those critical of Trump. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's not journalism. That's not free speech. It's not just
And we're
spiking
seeing-
the endorsement of Kamala Harris, right?
And we're seeing more of this rather than less. And the more it spirals, the more journalists are afraid to report, and the more my friends on the right keep hearing the media can't be trusted. What they're really saying is any media that is critical of dear leader can't be trusted because
Well-
everyone should be enthused.
And that's why I swear it's the worst business move ever for Joe and Mika on the only liberal channel to go bend the knee to Trump and to not see the blowback and that they were going to lose half their audience. I mean, as you've said, Donna, for years, there is a market. You know, we're proving it at 20 years in here. Bob Seska's proven it. You know, there's a constellation of progressive, voices that
Go back to you when you were on the Jones radio network.
Right. Wow.
Glenn Jones.
Yes.
Remember Glenn? But that's my point. Why is it that when a progressive talk show host is entertaining and informative, they don't get the support out there? And I'm not talking about your wonderful listeners, okay? I've
Right.
been a listener of yours as well as a fan for like decades, okay? And I've trained talk show hosts, okay? I was a consultant for almost 3 decades. So I know a good talk show host. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on your show. I've said it before. But my point is, when you get out and do the things you do, why isn't there more support for infrastructure to bring more of
Right.
you or more people who are doing what you do?
Right.
Unfortunately,
And there are, right, that's
Yeah.
what I was saying. And all of the people that were radio professionals that started at this, like, Randy Rhodes and Tom Hartman and et cetera,
Yes.
are still doing it successfully,
Still
as are
doing
we. So, yeah.
And yet 95% of talk radio is conservative.
Yep.
You can't tell me that that's because that's what the people want. And yet, that's what they're getting relentlessly. And if you get something over and over, you start thinking it's the norm.
Yeah. But, as you know, Donna, better than anyone as a media historian, the things, obviously, right? Like podcasts and YouTube. So there's also, like Bob Seska, there's, we keep Daily Beans, Midas Touch. We keep talking about all the successful podcasts, that they're not necessarily traditional radio shows, but they are podcasts. But you're right. Wealthy liberals should look and go, Daily Beans just broke the top 10. Bob Seska's very successful, on and on. Talk about the people that are doing this very successfully. They may be in different forms because traditional radio doesn't support it,
But traditional radio is still part of the mix. I talked about this with Bob Seska. If you are a radio person, you don't necessarily dominate the way radio did years ago, but that doesn't mean you don't have any listeners. You have listeners, and that form of media is still in the mix.
Oh, Donna, 6 million. Who's counting? Anyway.
But, 6.
But we have had to splinter into a million different pieces
To stay alive. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did you start as a radio DJ like I did? Did I hear that?
I certainly did.
What kind of DJ?
You were on in Rochester, were you not?
Yeah, WCMF, Sister Sleeves, Brother Wee's Morning Circus, everybody.
And I was the first woman in the history of Northeastern University to ever be on the radio.
Wow.
And I was inducted into the Mass Broadcasters Hall of Fame last year.
Congratulations.
Wow. Congratulations. Oh, I have a That's a Buffalo Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
A Do you have a bubba?
But yeah, I started in college radio, and then I went over to eventually to WMMS in Cleveland, where I discovered a little Canadian rock band. That's
WMMS
rock and
is
roll. I've done
legendary.
rock and roll and top 40. What did you do, everybody?
I did all of them. You
Yeah.
name it. When there's a job, come on, we're radio people.
Right.
There's a job, you take it.
Exactly.
You know?
My
Not getting
first-
paid
my-
the big bucks anyway.
Yeah.
I did all classic rock before I went to Hot 97, which was like
I worked
I know.
with Howard Stern. I worked with Howard before Howard
did.
was famous.
Yeah.
We
Hot
worked
97 was top 40. I once said to the GM, I was like, "Oh, are they different songs? I thought it was all one song." But I just
Oh,
for a
boy.
job, I'm like, "Yeah, I love this music."
My first job in radio was in country music. I had no knowledge of country at all. I just wanted to be on the radio.
We're all-
That's what I did.
Absolutely.
We're all
Yep.
mercenary whores.
Yeah.
All right. Donna, come back again anytime.
Yes.
I know.
Thank you for having me.
It's been overdue. So
That's
thank
right.
you so much, and keep fighting that good fight.
Oh, hi. I just finished, I'm going to say, an 11 billion mile bike ride. And thank God I happen to have this magic potion with me, ASEA, as seen on the Stephanie Miller Show. It helps my cells communicate better so that I can heal faster from overdoing because I'm lying about my age. I also use it on my face.